My name is Eva Kozlowska. I come to you from Poland, and I represent Gdańsk University of Technology and Faculty of Mechanical Engineering. So just for a change, we're going to talk about some engineering, but engineering, teaching engineering to mixed nationality students. And I want to kind of introduce you to my different groups of students I teach. And as you may notice, the groups are different. We have different nationalities. Sometimes we have just 2 different nationalities in the group. Sometimes we have many. And the thing is, they all come from different backgrounds. They used to different class schedules and types of working. They have different piece of work, and that sometimes leads to many different misunderstandings and also frustrations, because some people are used to the type of class I run. I run mostly laboratories, materials science, and things like that. And during the class, you have to make notes, you have to fill in the report, and some people are not used to it. Some people need more attention. And Polish students sometimes get frustrated because the class goes slow because of the different nationality students. They need more attention, but that's I teach my students too that they have to be patient, because if they're going to work in an international team, they're going to keep that in mind, that there are problems. Those are problems that you have to deal with working internationally. And the other thing is, when you teach face-to-face and when you teach online, I teach both ways. If I teach online, I usually make a glossary for my students, because technical language is very specific, and sometimes it doesn't make any sense to just translate how you call it in your language and how they call it in English. And I had a problem myself once, that when I was looking for different types of cast iron. We have like 4 or 5 different types. In English, you can find similar, but not the same. And you have to keep that in mind. And it's a great thing to create such a glossary. Maybe share some materials with your students. So first, we don't have the pronunciation issues, then the text, and then the speak and write issues. That helps a lot. And another thing, in engineering, you have symbols that are international, and it's great to teach them those symbols because this way they can be understandable. When I show this picture to my non-engineering students, they all say, okay, it's a colorful rectangular. What's the difference? The color. But when you look at the symbols, you can see the meaning of them. And when you look from a different point of view, in a 3D, there are totally different shapes. And you don't have to draw them in 3D. We just use the symbols in international engineering language. It's understandable enough. That gives us a different point of view, and makes the collaboration much easier. And one thing to do is about the communication. I asked some random students how they usually communicate with their teachers, and they give me a sort of different answers. They use emails, forums, sometimes live meetings, sometimes phone calls or instant messages. They usually pick emails. And you can pick whatever you want. It's whatever you find best. But it's really important to choose one and just stick to it. Because then, with this group, I contact via email. With the other group, I contact via chat or live meeting. Because if you have too many, it creates misunderstandings and it gets unorganized very quickly. Like when I teach online, I usually ask my students to use forum and ask all the questions on a forum. But if there is anything very private, I want them to send me an email. Same when they submit their reports, I want them to submit on a Moodle platform, because just my email box is not big enough to handle it. and it gets stuck very quickly. So I say that in the beginning, I give him a welcome message, and I say everything, your reports go to the Moodle assignment, questions go to the forum, and if there is something, okay, you can always email me, but keep in mind that we have to put stuff in an order just to get organized and avoid misunderstanding and don't lose important things. But the other thing to consider is that students sometimes don't read the announcements, sometimes don't understand, sometimes they struggle with their English too. And like here's an example of a student who wasn't sure when we switched from face-to-face classes to online classes. He already attended some of the classes. He wasn't sure if he had to do it again or no. And he didn't read the announcement, or maybe he didn't understand the announcement. Good thing he used the forum, because in this group, he used the forum and I didn't get any more questions like that. But in the other group, students just kept sending me emails asking exactly same questions over and over again. And they wouldn't react even to my post on the announcement forum. So that's another thing we need to deal with. Plus, we should simplify our English in the announcement so we know they understand. Sometimes their English sometimes they also struggle with the English, especially when they're from different countries. And the other thing is if you teach online, if you want to check their knowledge, the simplest way is to use a Moodle quiz, if you use Moodle or any other kind of test. I like Moodle quizzes. They're very simple. They're very easy to set up. And you have auto check, which saves a lot of time. But there is one thing you need to take into consideration. Like here, I ask them to list 3 steps of normalizing and use commas between the steps. And the steps were heating, annealing, and cooling. I went through the Moodle settings, the quiz settings. I said, okay, it doesn't matter if they use capitals or not. They may forget the commas, so okay, it doesn't matter if they use commas or not. And I manually type in all the different answers that I consider right. But then we have this student, and he actually did exactly what I asked him. He used the commas, but he didn't use the spaces between. So the system automatically said, okay, that answer is wrong. And he didn't get the point for that. This is one other thing that we need to consider and always recheck the auto checking system. Like I went through and manually marked it as correct. But actually the student did everything right and like super right. So I couldn't blame him, but he might have felt frustrated or concerned right after getting the result that the answer is wrong. So that's another thing we need to consider to make the task clear and the comments and instructions for them. And one more thing is we usually ask for feedback, but the thing is to ask good questions when we ask for feedback. Like we can ask, did you like the class or not? But it doesn't really tell us much because we just know their opinion. It's very individual, but we don't know if something was wrong, what was actually wrong. It's good to ask them if the content was clear and easy to understand. Did the teacher have a pleasant attitude towards students? Because we have so many cultural differences that we sometimes don't even realize that some students might have felt uncomfortable. Another question is to ask, were the training materials suitable and were the tasks too easy, too complicated, or just right? And I want to wish you all a very happy Teachers' Day. And when you ask your student to summarize the class, I really hope you get much more than I got one day, because I asked my students to summarize the class, and what he put in report was After I was talking about corrosion for like 2 hours, he put, I saw metal things and they were broken. So I wish you much more than that in your feedback. I wish you always have a happy student. And thank you so much for your attention.
Oh, great. Eva, thank you so much. And one second. You did such a good job. I think I should reward you with a copy of the EFL Talks cookbook. And through the magic of the internet, here you go.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Ra. Look,
Eh, sure.
it's amazing. Thank you so
See,
much.
this is why you get to know engineering students. Okay. Thanks, Eva.
Thank you.
And through more magic.